Whoa, wait. Watch this. In a good economy, he's God. In a jacked up economy, he's God. Watch this. Oh, teach this thing, Pastor. In a famine, he's still what? God. Tell your neighbor, you can have a little and he's God. You can have nothing at all and he's still God. Does not need to change. This is one of my favorite scriptures. I'm going to teach you something tonight that if you understand this scripture, you can take this word by believing it and defeat whatever you may go through or whatever tries to defeat you. This word right here is this powerful. Malachi 3:6. You say, Pastor, what does that say? Notice, for I am the Lord, I do not change. Therefore, you are not consumed, O sons of Jacob, or my people. Tell a neighbor, the subject tonight, the Lord does not, finish it. Tell somebody, the Lord does not change. Before I deal with the truth of God not changing, understand tonight that people change. People change. Circumstances change. Facts change. What may be a fact today will change or can change tomorrow. What a person may be today, he or she may not be tomorrow. Why? People change. Saved folk change. Unsaved folk change. Bottom line, people what? Change. People what? Change. Now see, some of us, we think that that's elementary, and it is elementary that people change. But sometimes we forget that. We forget that in reference to other people, and we forget it in reference to ourselves. In reference to others, we forget that people change, and sometimes folk try to make people God. People ain't God. People change. Listen, I'm saying to you tonight, whether you like it or not, all of us, let me finish, change, and sometimes we change for the worse. Man will fail you. Having done all not to fail, because he's yet man, he fails. She fails. Doctors fail. Lawyers fail. Bankers fail. Come on. Pastors fail. Elders fail. Deacons fail. Come on. Wives fail. Husbands fail. We are yet people, and we have to understand this, because in understanding it, it allows you to really know your God. To really know that when it comes to God, there's nobody like him. Nobody like him. And that's what I want to teach on tonight. The fact that, yes, people change, but thank God that we're not making people our God. We know who our God is. We know what separates our God from man. See, if you know this, man can say one thing, but if you know God's will is another thing, you don't have to cry about what man said, because you recognize the same man that's saying no today, I can come back tomorrow and that same man will tell me yes. Why? Because he changes. But on the other hand, if my trust is in God, according to the scripture, the Lord does not what? Change. Receive change tonight as altar. There is no need for God to alter. What God was yesterday, he is today. What God is today, he will be tomorrow. That's good. That means if God healed a disease yesterday, he's able to heal disease today. Guess what? That's good news in the future. Because if scientists discover a disease we never knew about, because God does not change, he can still do something with what man had no clue about. Woo, yeah. See, listen. Because again, what he was, he is, and what he is, he'll always be. Woo, wait. Watch this. In a good economy, he's God. In a jacked up economy, he's God. Watch this. Oh, teach this thing, Pastor. In a famine, he's still what? God. Tell your neighbor, you can have a little and he's God. You can have nothing at all and he's still God. Does not need to change. You realize that? What God was, he still is. What he is, he will always be. And this is what I love. Because the Bible talks about what if some don't believe? Tell your neighbor, no problem. Tell your neighbor, if some don't believe, he still is who he was and who he is and who he will be. So you see that? What folk disbelief don't change God. He's still who? God. God does not change because man don't believe him. I also want you to see that God does not fail. See, some of us, it's hard for us that we've experienced so much failure in our life. We've seen man fail so many times. And some of us done seen things in our life fail that we just knew would not fail. And so when I say to you there's no failure in God, you got to really know who I'm talking about. You got to know I'm talking about the omnipotent one. Right? Because that's a bold statement. There is no failure in God. Listen, period. Listen, if God tell you he going to do a thing, if there's no failure in him, guess what? He going to do that. If God promised to bless you and you believe him because there's no failure in him, he can't come up short in reference to blessing you. You will be a blessed somebody. Why? There's no failure in him. Even if God speak a word to you tonight and all hell breaks loose before the night is over, you can yet count on God's word coming to pass despite things going from being bad to worse, because you recognize when it comes to your God, there is no failure in God. There's failure in Muhammad. Yes, there's failure in Islam. But there is no failure in Jesus. There is no failure in the God that we serve. Why you say it, pal? He's a living God. All other gods, small case G, are yet dead and not able to get up, but not our God. No failure in our God. I better say that for myself. Some of y'all scared to say that. I'm not a loser. You hear me? I'm not a loser. And don't you put no L up in me. I'm not no loser. I win. I'm victorious. Woo, some of y'all can't even clap. I said, I'm not a loser. I don't talk like a loser. I don't look like a loser. I don't walk like a loser. I don't think like a loser. I don't hang with losers. Why? I know who I am because of my God. Are y'all hearing me tonight? No way you in God the way you need to be and you're a loser. God don't have losers. He's too great of a God for his people to ever be a loser. Now hold up. There are situations he allow us to get into that we may look like a loser. Because I know some of you so deep out there, well, Pastor, why I feel. I mean, folks saying I'm losing. Let folk talk. Let folks say a lot of things, because you can be up in something that looks like defeat, and people can be saying you ain't coming out. You're never going to get the better that you've been confessing. But little do they know, your better is coming out of that defeated situation. That's where the miracle coming from. That's what's about to carry you from one level to the next level. Remember when Job was going through all he was going through, he was in the will of God. And his friends felt like Job was basically a loser, was being defeated. And they kept trying to figure out why he was going through what he was going through, not realizing that God put him somewhere to give him double, to increase him, to promote him. What looks like defeat to sinners is in fact victory to saints. Oh, Lord. That's where you can go through something tough but come out better. When your enemies are waiting to hear when the funeral gonna be, next thing you know, they invited to a wedding. They invited to a party. Who party? So and so. I thought he was dead. I thought the way he got knocked out, he wasn't gonna get back up. Well, that's what you thought.